will be coming out of that hatchery in just a moment, and a small number of Zerglings to keep him safe. He does run out with that one Zergling trying to see what's going on, and it's like, oh crap, I can see that the all-in is continuing. We have more Banelings on the way being produced. He does run out, see if he can pick off any of those, but look, there's a whole bunch of reinforcements from Niv. That second Spine Crawler is not quite done yet, but Niv is taking the moment to morph in several more Banelings, and we'll see as we look at it that we're actually in a situation that's pretty similar to the first attack. We have 7 Banelings against 9 Zerglings. That's a complete one-sided stomp fest in ordinary StarCraft 2, unless the control is just immaculate of the defending player. Because if he trades 1-for-1 doing that perfect Zergling micro where you select one Zergling, right-click on a Baneling, and tell him to go kill him, hoping that the Baneling's either on move command or that your Zergling doesn't get picked off by your opponent's defending Zerglings, so you can trade 1-to-1, which is usually the best way of dealing with Banelings if you have nothing but Zerglings of your own, that even doing that strategy perfectly, he'd have 2 Zerglings left, which is not a good place to be against the production that you see in ordinary games of StarCraft 2. So there's a small poke in right here by Niv, like that decision. He's going in, trying to just pick off 1 or 2 workers, get a little bit of an advantage, but he will be forced away, and the Roach Warren is starting up for Deja. The Roaches are going to become quite important later. He ends up running in and losing that Spine Crawler. It's a very nice pick-off by Niv. And look at these Banelings coming right in. They march in like they don't even care. They take out that first Spine Crawler instantly. That was a piece of bad control. I will definitely admit that if the Banelings had not detonated on the Roach Warren, this game might have gone a different way, but that Spine Crawler was still at full health. We see that all of a sudden it's 6 Zerglings against 9 Zerglings, and the one Queen is right nearby. So with the drone pull, with splitting up the drones to make sure that those couple of Banelings don't end up doing too much damage, we could once again see Deja in a totally fine position from that incredibly dangerous attack. And these Zerglings are going to be easily forced away. There's nothing they can do against this Spine Crawler. The 2 armor versus just 5 damage, or sorry, whoop, meant to select the Zergling, versus just 5 damage of the Zerglings means that they almost do nothing against a Spine Crawler unless they have enough to completely surround it and get a whole bunch attacking at a time. Niv is continuing to pull back, and the all-in continues. He is just not giving up on this aggression. His expansion is finally up, but if we take a look at the worker count, it's 21 workers, which can actually be used to their full potential because there are 2 bases, versus 14, and they can't really do all that much. The Zerglings are continuing to push back and forth a little bit. These Banelings are morphed in. So we're just waiting for Niv to continue the next stage of his attack. He is not letting up on this pressure at all. And once again, we see 6 Banelings against just 9 Zerglings. But critically, the Roaches have showed up on the field. I'm just going to pause right here. This positioning is fantastic. I was so happy when I saw this. I was like, wow. I think Deja might really be able to pull this off. It greatly limits the amount of space that the Zerglings and Banelings will be able to attack the Spine Crawlers on. You see right here, all of this space is not going to be viable for a Zergling to attack. All this space, the Zergling can't attack in there. So they can't be fully surrounded anymore. These Roaches, when they get involved, will also be able to start plugging gaps. The space control is a lot easier when, admittedly, this is a moderately small choke. Not every map will feature that. But by preventing just a couple of Zerglings from getting on to the Spine Crawler, they don't have enough buddies behind them to take it down. The Banelings come marching right in. They get very threatening position, but he ends up pulling these Zerglings back, and there's a huge explosion that kills off a whole bunch of drones. But as we see, Deja is only down to 14. He's still not doing that bad against this aggression. He has better tech, because as he's able to get more of these Roaches on the field, he'll be able to protect against this better. And look at this Spine Crawler, just going to work. I'll get back to these Banelings in a second so that you guys don't get left totally hanging on what they end up doing. But look at this, guys. Up to 5 kills already. There are 4 Zerglings who are able to get space on him. And how many is that? We need to show some Gosu mouse control to count them all. There's 5 Zerglings running around in the back like idiots, saying, "Aw, man, I sure wish I could be in the front, doing something, contributing." Yeah, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Banelings don't end up doing much. They're very quickly sniped down by these Roaches. And when the Roaches get involved, look at that. The Spine Crawler survives. It was like if it had been in any other position, or if it had been just a larger number of Zerglings attacking it, maybe a couple more from the front, it would have been totally screwed. But because of Deja's very good decision right there, and just the nature of this variant, the spine crawler was able to prove its worth and survive with 11 worker kills. So actually, there are two major points that I want to make in this analysis, and I've managed to miss one in the excitement of looking at how awesome that hold was. And gotta rewind just a little bit more. Alrighty, we see the big group of banelings marching right on in. They kind of wander around a little bit, get the huge detonation on the workers, and as I mentioned a moment ago, that's very bad. It's not a good thing to be below your opponent in workers. And yet, look at how many banelings he traded to actually be able to do that. I'm going to rewind just one more time to show you guys. He has all of these banelings coming in. Marches them up and around, marches them up and around. He trades 3 banelings for 5 workers. If this had been an ordinary mineral line, that would have been far more workers, just because there's so many more of them moving into, like, the arc is about the same in a 8 mineral game. There's just 1 or 2 more fields. So each field is going to have several more workers moving back and forth to it. So when you have a big detonation, like right about here, you're not going to be killing just 5 workers. You're going to be killing like 8 workers, 9 workers. We can see that in the main a little bit. Imagine that there were a couple of banelings just right here. They were map editored in, were wandering into this worker line. If they exploded right now, say like here, they'd only kill 3 workers. The optimal spot they could explode, right about here, would get at most 5. And because you have the same number of spread out mineral fields, but a lower number of overall workers, I'm sorry, you don't have the same number of spread out mineral fields. The mineral fields are spread out in the same arc as the old mineral fields, but they don't have as many, so there aren't as many workers just hanging around. I think that the value of AoE damage on worker lines will be significantly reduced. So this Zergling Baneling all-in, while it will definitely still do damage against your opponent and will probably remain at least somewhat popular, I don't think is necessarily the go-to strategy in almost every ZvZ anymore. And just going to speed it up a little bit to get back to where we were. These Banelings are forced, or Zerglings are forced away. The kind of a wall, not a full wall, ends up completing, starting to spread a little bit of creep, and now we see both players are back up to equal workers, but there's a huge attack incoming. Right now, Deej is putting the first pressure on his opponent of the game. And this was another point where I was looking at it when I was watching this live and thinking, oh man, I don't know if this is going to end well at all, because that number of roaches versus that number of Zerglings is a total romp. It's not even funny how badly the Zerglings get crushed. So Niv did spot these roaches moving out around the map, very smartly threw down 2 more spine crawlers, and we'll see. He's immediately shifting his full weight into production of Zerglings. So this attack is very much on a timer now, and once again, we're going to notice that these spine crawlers pay absolute dividends for themselves against even roaches. This is a very large attack that's coming in, and not too much to defend it just yet. Look at how fast that first spine crawler goes down. But as these 2 other ones finish, and there's a little bit of support from the Zerglings, all of a sudden, these roaches really aren't doing that well anymore. He's down to just 5. There's a full surround from these reinforcements, down to 4, down to 3. And they aren't even able to get into this spine crawler. So we do see a little bit of an unfortunate GG from Deej. I think that he was predicting himself as being far more out of the game than he was. He thought that he didn't really get in and do any damage, but he didn't realize that his opponent was spending just so much money on trying to kill him that his actual worker count is ahead. He's ahead by 3 workers. He's had his expansion for a lot longer. He's moving into superior tech, getting the critical +1 missile attack upgrade for roaches that allow them to 2-shot instead of 3-shot Zerglings. He's getting the 5 more roaches, so even though it looks as though, wow, that's a lot of Zerglings that might be able to go in and do a counterattack, he's going to be totally fine. If he sets them up with a nice little wall right here, maybe gets a queen in to block a little bit behind this spine crawler, he's going to be completely just great for the rest of the match, and I would have really liked to see this continue playing out. I think this is one of the most educational games that I've seen in the FRB variant that has come out so far. So I hope that everybody had as much fun with this analysis as I did. I really enjoyed the opportunity to look at not just the excitement and energy that I've been trying to bring to my other casts, but actually sit down and take a moment to look at what's different. Not just in the obvious things. If you have to expand more, you don't get the late game units out as often or as many, but what things that really aren't used as much or are used to a limited amount. We do see kind of like 1 spine crawler sometimes in ZvZ in ordinary StarCraft 2 to just pick away at Banelings, maybe 2, but it's not really common to see 3 of them get thrown up, hold off a big attack, to see two of them with a very cleverly positioned building get thrown off and hold off several horrible attacks that would have completely run him over if they hadn't been around. Still, kind of sorry, just take a second. I'm still in awe of that guy with 11 kills. It's a fantastic spine crawler, paid for himself many times over. But anyway, I hope that everybody had as much fun with this cast as I did. If people are interested, I will continue doing my best to analyze. I don't pretend to be a Super Gosu StarCraft 2 pro player or anything like that, but I do think that I have some good ideas occasionally and would love to share my thoughts with everybody else about how this matchup and just all of the other matchups might start playing out on these new FRB style maps. So thanks everybody for watching. If you're interested in playing some of these games yourself, I would check out channel 7M on both North America and Europe. It's the place that everybody's organizing them, and you can hop in on some games to observe them, see what strategies are starting to work well, or just hop into a couple of games yourself. So thanks everybody for watching. This is Senex signing out.